This past summer, IPFW fine arts professors Dana Goodman and Christopher Gans led a group of students through Rome, Venice, and Florence for a study abroad program to view some of the world's most celebrated art and architecture. Now showing in the IPFW Visual Arts Gallery is Capturing Italy, an exhibit featuring drawings and watercolors by students and their instructors showcasing their personal vision of Italy as experienced on that trip. I'm pleased to welcome my colleagues Dana Goodman and Chris Ganz to Arts Weekly to learn more about their trip and this exhibit. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
I'd like to start with Dana to talk a little bit about the history of the Study Abroad program through the College of Visual Performing Arts, specifically the Fine Arts program. You sort of started it, am I right in that?
I started it. I didn't sort of start it.
You started
I went
it.
to one of your predecessors, Dean Christie, which some of your viewers remember, and asked him in 2001, could we do this? And he said, sounds great. So a few months after 9/11, we took off on our first trip to Italy with some students and been doing it ever since. We did go a year ago this summer, but every year since then to places like Japan and England,
So you
Ireland.
travel every summer?
I go
abroad.
somewhere personally,
Oh,
and
you do?
with students too,
Okay.
no matter what.
So you haven't always been the teacher or the chaperone on every trip?
I have.
Oh, you have?
I have.
Oh, okay, all right.
But just filling in if one doesn't succeed to get enough students, I go.
Okay, but did
somewhere
I
anyway.
just hear Japan?
Japan,
You've been to
Japan
Japan?
twice. We've been to England, France, and Spain, and Ireland, and around. And lately we started focusing on Italy because we just felt that that's kind of the place people would pick first. If you're an art major in the Western world, that's kind of it. It's like
Right.
Mecca of art. So
Right.
it's kind of the biggest bang for the buck. And
How
I
long
think-
do they go?
How long?
How long
does-
is the trip? How long is
about
the
2.5
program?
weeks. It's run 2.5 to 3 weeks in the past.
Uh-huh. And is it hostels, hotels?
Well, we actually switched this year to something new. It's religious-based hotels, hostels, which is kind of a new thing in Italy. It's been discovered. It's kind of between a backpacking hostel and a hotel run by religious organizations who help the poor and children. They're nonprofit organizations. And sometimes they're actually working monasteries, and sometimes they're just hotels run by organizations. Very interesting.
And how many people did you take to Italy?
15 total of us went.
Okay. Are they all students?
I think all but two.
one?
One
I think
was,
just
yeah. I
one.
think one
That
was.
one lone would be an adult, a faculty member? So community members can
adult,
go
yeah.
on this trip?
They can go on
Precisely.
this trip.
And you encourage that? Is 15 a good number? Do you feel?
Yeah, we started to limit it. Last year, the trip filled in one day. It was
Really?
really shocking. And that's so. Get ready with your money, January 1st next year, $500. You know, but
Start paying January
yeah,
1st.
Get ready, you know.
can
but,
go. Well, what's the cost? What's the
well,
cost?
we're figuring out. We're almost there. We're within days of figuring it all out for next year. Between about $4,500 to $5,000. It depends. The campuses arranged it so if you take a class with it, the trip itself is cheaper.
Oh,
But if you don't take a class, it's a little bit more expensive.
well, that's interesting.
It is. They kind of entice students to take
Yeah,
a
it's
class with it.
entice students to take it for credit, and if they're going to go, they might as well take a history credit or a drawing class.
Yeah, and 10 of the people did take it as a class.
10 took it as a class. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Well, this exhibit, this trip, resulted in drawings that are now in an exhibit in the IPFW Fine Arts Gallery called Capturing Italy, correct? And
That's
it's both your drawings and student drawings?
That's it.
Okay. And before we get into looking at drawings and talking about the trip, when is the actual opening of this show?
It's going to be a week from tonight, next Thursday, September 12th, from 5 to 7?
5 to 7?
5 to 7 p.m. in the Visual Arts Gallery at IPFW.
Fantastic, great. Christopher Gans, what do you teach at IPFW?
I teach foundation drawing, and I also teach all levels of printmaking from beginning to advanced.
Okay. And you always go on the trip, or this is occasional, or?
This is my second time as a drawing instructor on this trip. So it's the studio component. Dana had been teaching an art history component since the inception of the study abroad. The last trip that we took to Italy was 2010, was the first time we had a studio art class available for students. And it was a really big success, and I enjoyed it immensely. And it also gave the students another option. If they didn't want to do art history, they could take drawing.
A studio class. Is it a full 3-credit class?
Yes, it was.
is.
It was 3 credits, and it was drawing pretty much every day between 3 and 5 hours a day on site, in location.
Wow.
Museums, outside of famous architecture, like the Colosseum. We actually were just right across the street viewing it.
And in talking with your students and with you, they used a special paper during this drawing session called Spolvero?
Correct. I think it's roughly translated means dust or dusting in Italian, and that's because it was a type of paper that originally was used for frescoes. In preparation for frescoes, they would coat it with this charcoal dust in the back, and they would kind of trace it and transfer it to the fresco, so they would have the design kind of all laid out before they started painting.
Is the paper, is it thin? Is it thinner than?
It's relatively, it's pretty standard thickness. It's more the tint, the tone of the paper. It's a really subtle kind of warm tone that is, I think it really works well for drawing on site in Italy because there's so much sunlight and the marble reflects all this warmth that it also goes back to Italian master drawings when they actually drew on this type of paper. So instantly it almost has this kind of feeling of being Italian, uniquely Italian.
Right, exactly. If I'm Italian, I want to drink Italian wine and I want to draw on Italian paper.
When in Rome.
That's when in Rome. Do as the Romans
Literally.
do.
Exactly.
I think we have some drawings to look at. If you wouldn't mind kind of talking with us as we look through some of these drawings of what we're seeing. I don't know if we're seeing studio drawings to begin with or, well, that's photographs.
Yeah, that's one on location. Okay.
Is this a Christopher Ganz?
That is one of mine.
Masterpiece.
That is a view of Florence, like a panorama of Florence, which sits in a valley. And you can see the main building, the dome building, the Duomo, the Cathedral of Florence, dominates the skyline. And it's really a symbol of the Italian Renaissance. Nothing really, to me, captures the Italian Renaissance more in one picture than that.
And this is?
This is a drawing by a student, Derek Daughtery, of a Hercules with a Hydra. He was particularly fascinated by Hercules and slaying the Hydra.
So he's 21.
He did a couple. He did a couple of those.
He did a couple of those.
Yeah. And that's the Doge's palace, the courtyard of the Doge's palace in Venice, which is just incredibly ornate, Byzantine inspired architecture. Something that and that's the Hand of David by Michelangelo, drawn on site by student Rima, and it's just something amazing to just go right there and draw
from the real thing. Yeah, it's
another
beautiful.
David.
So when you get to these sites, is it IPFW students and 100 other students, or are you just joined by tons of artists sitting on a hillside?
That's what artist points out, or Chris points out. There aren't any other people. I mean, it's like occasionally a person sitting around, and it's like, are we the only class over there drawing on site? Where are these other people that go over there? I think they're in classrooms.
Really?
Because I visited schools there, and they go over there and mimic what we do here, and we thought, we don't want to do that.
No.
We want to go right in there. So we have us around there, and everybody is watching us. And if they're good enough, they'll give us a bravo.
Yeah, that's
Really?
And I always tell them, let me know when you get a Bravo.
What's a Bravo? Like,
Well,
way to go, it's beautiful?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Bravo.
I thought
Great
maybe it was a
job.
cup of coffee you got in Java. On the
Bravo.
Java, you're doing so
Yeah.
well. That's fantastic. Great.
Nothing
And
like
so
it.
they draw all day long?
Pretty much. I mean, it's about a 3 to 5 hour. It depends. Some days we travel and it's harder to get the time to draw, and then we kind of make up for it the next day with maybe 2 sessions. But it really is just right on site, and it's just so inspiring, and the intensity of like encountering this art in person, you just appreciate it and you understand it. I tell students that next to making art, the best way to improve yourself as an artist is to look at art.
Right.
And there's nothing even better than making art while looking at art. And it goes back to the whole tradition of studying art from looking at master artworks.
Right.
And it's right there, and it's just an amazing experience.
And there has to be another added value educationally when you're asking them to copy a piece of art. I mean, you sat on a hillside and you took the view, you did a landscape, if you will, but you have them go to Michelangelo, you have them go to great art in museums and draw that. What is the value? Why are we doing that? Why are you doing that? So that they can see the detail or the precision of the other artists, or just to copy great art? Or
Well, I think it's kind of profound to people, because it's kind of like the difference between a live performance and a recording. It's just nothing like being there. You see everything, the scale. You can read about how big it is in a book. Till you really see it, you can't grasp it. You walk in the Pantheon of Rome, and it just kind of blows you away, that space.
Yeah.
No camera can capture it. So I think it just makes it much more real and important to them to just look at it right next to them. In Italy, there's not so much over-the-top security, so you can really get close
Right.
to things.
Exactly. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, exactly.
And you actually can see a lot of art in situ in its original location. It's never been moved. So in books, it kind of gets chopped out of that environment.
Right.
And there they go, have to go find it in the original environment.
Any lessons learned in this particular trip? Something to do differently in the next trip, or someone to leave out? No.
Wow.
Well, we can't really control that. So
Yeah,
we got to
control
take
it.
No,
Can't
I'm
control the
just
weather.
kidding. I'm just kidding. You can't control the weather. You don't have security
Yeah.
issues, so.
We'd all both like to learn more Italian. I mean,
Yeah,
kinda-
that's
So
that's
do
probably
you
the
think
main
there's a
thing.
language barrier sometimes?
Well, we was talking about these religious stays, these hotels, and some of these, like some nuns were running one of the hotels in Florence, and they didn't know much English, and there was a little bit of a problem us getting in on time. So we had to try to use whatever Italian we had, and which isn't. It gets better. It gets better and better. We're both working on
Right.
it.
We know
but
Bravo.
Yeah, that's a start.
That's it. It's a start.
Right.
So
And,
if it's not, are you in a convent? Are these
Uh-huh,
structures
these are
former
French-speaking-
religious,
Oh, some are active.
active
These were
religious?
French-speaking nuns, wonderful people, but a little bit of the language barrier. Not bad though, but the struggle is kind of worth it.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
to
and it
do
just in hindsight, it's like an interesting experience. It adds like another level of it. You just have to pay more attention and be able to kind of think about what you're saying. And it's really you interact with people that on a kind of an authentic level too.
Right, right. I would imagine that they're kind of excited to have American artists there.
They love it.
Yeah.
They allow
Absolutely.
anybody to stay there. They don't really care.
they're-
They just welcome everybody.
And
it's-
they're beautiful buildings
Oh
in
my
often
gosh, they're
cases.
like
They'll
in
have
old
frescoes
palaces
inside
and-
of them.
Yeah.
So the exhibit is at the Fine Arts Gallery on the campus of IPFW in the Visual Arts Building, and it is running now, but it has an opening next Thursday through September 29th. And for information on Capturing Italy, you can call 481-6705, 481-6705. Well, thank you both very much for joining me today on
Thank
Arts
you.
Weekly.
Thank you.
My money's due when?
January 1st.
January 1st, $500. All right, well, maybe you'll get some of our viewers interested in traveling to Italy with you.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Thank you both for joining us on Arts Weekly. I'm John O'Connell, Dean of the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. Please join me next time on Arts Weekly when Ann Johnson, co-chair of the 6th annual Bust a Move auction, tells us more about the inspiring works of art behind this great event. Then Teresa Galley provides a preview of what's in store this fall at the Honeywell Center in Wabash, Indiana. For up-to-the-minute arts updates, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And be sure to join us here live Thursday evenings at 7:30 on PBS 39. Thanks for watching Arts Weekly.